Augustus, born Gaius Octavius on 23rd of September 63rd BCE at Velitrae, was the first emperor of Rome and the architect of the transition from republic to principate. He died on 19th August 14th CE at Nola. His rise began after the assassination of Julius Caesar in 44 BCE. Caesar had adopted Octavian in his will, and the 19-year-old returned to Italy to claim both inheritance and political mission. At first, Octavian positioned himself as a defender of the Republic against Mark Antony, but alliances quickly shifted. In 43 BCE, Octavian formed the Second Triumvirate with Antony and Lepidus, a legally sanctioned dictatorship for 5 years. The triumvirs launched brutal proscriptions, then marched east and defeated Caesar's assassins. The battles of Philippi in 42 BCE crushed Brutus and Cassius, ending the most prestigious core of republican resistance. The following years were defined by internal conflict and the consolidation of power. In Italy, Octavian fought the Perusine War, 41 to 40 BCE, against Lucius Antonius and Fulvia, emerging victorious. A more serious strategic threat came from Sextus Pompey, who controlled Sicily and endangered Rome's grain supply. The conflict at sea was largely won through the brilliance of Marcus Agrippa, Octavian's closest friend and commander. The decisive victory at Nolocus in 36 BCE eliminated Sextus and secured the western Mediterranean. Soon afterward, Lepidus was forced aside, and Octavian became dominant in the west. The final rival was Antony, allied with Cleopatra of Egypt. Octavian's propaganda framed the confrontation as a defense of Roman values against Eastern corruption. The conflict culminated in the naval battle of Actium in 31 BCE. Antony and Cleopatra fled, and after Octavian captured Alexandria in 30 BCE, both committed suicide. Egypt was annexed as an imperial possession, giving Octavian immense wealth and strategic control. In 27 BCE, Octavian performed a masterstroke of political theatre. He formally restored authority to the Senate and people, who, in return, granted him the title Augustus and a package of powers that made him Rome's preeminent leader. The new system, later called the Principate, preserved republican institutions in appearance while concentrating real authority in one man. A second constitutional settlement in 23 BCE refined his position, balancing tribunician and proconsular powers to provide legal foundations for his rule without openly reviving kingship. Augustus's era still involved significant warfare, much of it conducted by his generals under his strategic direction. He personally took part in operations in Spain, especially during the Cantabrian Wars, 29-19 BCE, which completed Roman conquest of the peninsula. In the Alps and the Danube regions, campaigns expanded Roman control and stabilized frontiers. In the north, Augustus' policy of pushing into Germania suffered a devastating setback with the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest in 9 CE, where 3 legions were destroyed by Arminius. This disaster discouraged further large-scale expansion east of the Rhine and reinforced a more defensive frontier strategy. The long stability associated with Augustus is often summarized as the Pax Augusta. It was not the absence of conflict everywhere, but a sustained internal order and administrative coherence following decades of civil war. Augustus reformed the military, creating a more professional standing army and establishing a treasury to fund veterans' pensions. He reorganized provincial governance, distinguishing between senatorial provinces and those under imperial control, and expanded Rome's administrative apparatus. His moral legislation attempted to reinforce traditional family life and public virtue, aligning with his image as restorer of Roman values. Augustus's building program reshaped the city of Rome and served as visual propaganda for the New Age. He famously claimed to have found Rome built of brick and left it of marble. Among the most significant projects were the Forum of Augustus and the Temple of Mars. Altar symbolizing vengeance for Caesar and the justice of the new order, the Ara Pacis, celebrating peace and prosperity, and the Mausoleum of Augustus, a dynastic tomb meant to anchor his family's place in Roman memory. He also completed or restored major civic structures and supported extensive urban improvements. Much of this transformation was carried out with the help of Agrippa, whose infrastructures, roads, aqueducts, and public facilities fit into Augustus's broader program of renewal and civic welfare. Culturally, Augustus carefully managed how his reign would be remembered. He patronized poets and historians such as Virgil, Horace, and Livy, and he left behind the Res Gestae, an official account of his achievements inscribed for public reading. When he died in 14 CE, he was deified, and his political model became the template for later emperors. Augustus's lasting legacy lies in the balance he struck. Ruthless in the civil wars, cautious, and constructive in peace, he engineered a durable system that stabilized the Roman world for generations.